What if I told you that some of the most common meats in your fridge could be silently killing your erections? Not overnight, not dramatically, but slowly, quietly, until one day you realize things aren't working the way they used to. Blood flow weakens, sensation fades, confidence slips away. I've seen it again and again in my clinic. Men who eat healthy, or so they think, yet come to me wondering why their drive is gone, why their morning wood has disappeared, and why intimacy has become frustrating. And the truth is, in many of these cases, it's not about age, it's the food. Specifically, the meat. Today, I'll walk you through 4 meats that are destroying male performance after 60 and what to choose instead to restore blood flow, testosterone, and vitality. Let's start with the worst offender. 1. Processed bacon and breakfast sausage. Let me ask you, what's the most common breakfast for men over 60? Eggs, toast, maybe coffee, and a few slices of bacon or sausage on the side. But here's what most men don't realize. Processed breakfast meats are one of the biggest killers of blood flow, especially down there. Why? Two big reasons. First, nitrites and nitrates. These are preservatives added to cured meats to keep them looking pink and to extend shelf life. But when digested, they can form nitrosamines, compounds linked to arterial damage and even cancer. Second, oxidized fats. These meats are often cooked at high temperatures, which damages the fats and turns them into pro-inflammatory compounds that stiffen arteries, reduce nitric oxide, and clog microvessels, including the ones responsible for erections. You see, an erection isn't about just arousal. It's about circulation. The blood vessels down there are tiny, much smaller than in your heart or legs, and they're the first to show signs of trouble when inflammation creeps in. I had a patient, Rick, 68, loved his bacon, said it was his one indulgence, ate it every day, but he also had creeping ED. No morning wood, he said, Doc, I'm just getting old. I challenged him. Cut the bacon and sausage for 1 month, that's it, nothing else. 30 days later, he came back. I don't know what's happening, but I woke up hard 3 mornings in a row this week. First time in months. That wasn't magic. That was circulation returning. The moment we removed the inflammation source, his body started healing. But bacon's not the only danger. There's another meat men eat thinking it's lean and heart healthy, when in reality, it's been destroying testosterone behind the scenes. All right, let's continue, and this next one might really surprise you. 2. Conventional chicken breast. Now I know what you're thinking, chicken breast? Really? Isn't that supposed to be the healthiest meat out there? Low fat, high protein. Every dietitian's favorite. But here's what they never tell you. Factory farmed chicken, the kind sold cheap in bulk, is absolutely loaded with estrogenic compounds. You see, in commercial farming operations, chickens are raised in cramped, stressful environments. They're fed a diet of genetically modified grains, often laced with soy and corn byproducts. And in many cases, they're exposed to growth-promoting drugs and antibiotics to fatten them up faster. What does this mean for you? It means the meat you're eating isn't just chicken. It's a hormonal cocktail. Multiple studies have found detectable levels of xenoestrogens, synthetic estrogen-like compounds, in commercially raised poultry. And when a man over 60 is already seeing natural testosterone decline, adding estrogen from food is like pouring cold water on a flickering flame. Now let's take it one step deeper. Even if the chicken you're eating doesn't have added hormones, the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio in factory-farmed poultry is dangerously high, sometimes as much as 21. That means every bite is pushing your body into a more inflammatory, testosterone-suppressing, libido-killing state. I had a patient, Eduardo, 71, super disciplined guy, ate chicken and salad for lunch every day, watched his carbs, didn't drink. Yet he kept complaining of fatigue, low sex drive, and irritability. I asked him to try switching from store-bought chicken to organic pasture-raised for 2 weeks and rotate in a few other meats I'll share later. His response, he came back and said, I didn't change anything else, doc, but I feel more alert. And let's just say things are working better again. That's the power of food quality. So don't be fooled by lean. If it's factory farmed, it's working against you, especially where it matters most. And we're not done yet, because the third meat on this list, it doesn't just hurt your performance. It may be silently sabotaging your blood pressure, prostate, and vascular health, all in one bite. Let's dive straight into the third erection-destroying meat older men must avoid: deli meats and cold cuts. Ham, turkey, salami, roast beef. Now let me ask you something. How many times have you reached into the fridge, grabbed a few slices of turkey or roast beef, thrown it on some bread, and called it lunch? It's quick, it's convenient. And it's lean protein, right? Wrong. Deli meats and cold cuts are one of the most damaging categories of meat for men over 60, and they quietly sabotage erections in three major ways. First, like bacon and sausage, they're loaded with nitrites and preservatives. These preservatives oxidize the fats in the meat even before it hits your frying pan, creating lipid peroxides, which are proven to damage the inner lining of your blood vessels. Second, and this one is sneaky, they're packed with sodium. Not the kind your body needs, but artificially added sodium to enhance flavor and preserve shelf life. And when you flood your system with excessive sodium without adequate potassium or hydration, it causes your blood vessels to constrict. And what do you need for an erection? Vasodilation. Open, flexible, responsive blood vessels. Not stiff, narrow, pressure packed ones. I had a patient, Carl, 73, who ate deli turkey like it was a food group. He'd make sandwiches, snack on slices, even add them to salads. But his blood pressure kept rising, despite medication. His urologist sent him to me because he hadn't had a full erection in over a year. I put him on what I call my blood vessel rescue plan. Step 1, no more deli meat, period. We replaced it with freshly cooked proteins, clean cuts, no preservatives. Within 6 weeks, his blood pressure stabilized. He was waking up with firmness again. And his confidence? Let's just say he started dressing better and smiling more. But the third problem with cold cuts is the additives, especially phosphates and flavor enhancers like MSG. These not only disrupt the delicate hormonal balance in aging men, but they can also trigger insulin resistance, leading to reduced nitric oxide production, the very compound that relaxes blood vessels during arousal. Bottom line, cold cuts aren't harmless. They're a circulation killer in disguise, but if you think that's bad, the final meat on this list might be the most dangerous of all, because it's high-end, served in nice restaurants. Seen as premium, but inside your body, it's doing damage you won't see until it's too late. The final meat that may be silently destroying male performance after 60. 4. Grain-fed red meat, especially ribeye, brisket, burgers from fast food. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying all red meat is bad. In fact, grass-fed red meat, in moderation, can be excellent for testosterone, iron, zinc, and B12. It's dense in the nutrients men over 60 often lack. But here's the issue. Most of the red meat on grocery store shelves and in restaurants today is grain-fed, high in omega-6 fats, and full of stress hormones. Why does that matter? Because when cows are raised in confinement and fattened up on grains, especially GMO corn and soy, their meat becomes chemically different, higher in inflammatory fats, lower in CLA and omega-3s, and packed with residual toxins from antibiotics, stress hormones, and even pesticides stored in the animal's fat. All of that goes straight into your system. Now here's where it really starts affecting your erections. Inflammation from these meats increases plaque buildup in your arteries, not just in your heart, but in the microarteries that feed blood to your penis. Over time, this slows blood flow, blunts nerve sensitivity, and weakens response. And the saturated fat content? In high quantities, especially from low-quality cuts like fast food burgers and fatty steaks, it can contribute to insulin resistance, weight gain, and hormonal disruption. I had a patient, Richard, 66, loved his burgers, ate steak 3 or 4 nights a week, told me, red meat gives me strength, but his erections were barely functional. He had to rely on medication. And even then, it was hit or miss. I didn't tell him to cut red meat completely. I told him to switch to grass-fed, leaner cuts just twice a week. The rest of the time, clean fish, pasture-raised chicken, or plant-based proteins. Within 2 months, his body changed. His blood pressure dropped. His waist shrank. And for the first time in years, he didn't need pills. He told me, I didn't realize my food was aging me. Now I feel 5 years younger. Because it's not just about meat. It's about the quality of the meat and how your body responds to it. So let's quickly recap. Here are the 4 meats you should stop eating if you want better erections after 60. Crossmark processed bacon and breakfast sausage crossmark, factory farmed chicken breast crossmark, deli meats, and cold cuts crossmark, grain-fed red meats from conventional sources now. Cutting these out is a great start. But the real power comes when you replace them with circulation boosting, testosterone supporting alternatives. Here's what I recommend instead. White heavy checkmark grass-fed, pasture-raised red meat, in moderation, white heavy checkmark wild-caught salmon and sardines white heavy checkmark, organic pasture-raised chicken or turkey white heavy checkmark organic eggs, Yes, whole eggs, rich in cholesterol for testosterone production, white heavy checkmark, and for bonus points. Add in plant-based proteins like lentils, pumpkin seeds, or fermented soy, like tempeh, which help your gut and your hormones. One last thing. If you've been eating the wrong meats for decades, don't panic. Your body is incredibly resilient. It wants to heal. The blood vessels can become more flexible again. Your testosterone can rise. Your desire, sensitivity, and confidence, they can return. You just have to give your body the right inputs. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 14 days, remove all four of the bad meats from your plate. Replace them with the clean options I just gave you. Track how you feel, your energy, your drive, your performance. Because odds are, you won't just see a change. You'll feel it every single morning. And in the next video, I'll show you the 3 food combinations that instantly boost nitric oxide for stronger, longer-lasting erections without medication. So if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. We're just getting started.